Yo, what's going on, everybody? So Boruto episode 121 is finally done and over with, and after a week's worth of wait, we know for certain what happened to Sasuke. A lot of people rightfully predicted last week that Urashiki activated his Rinnegan and Sasuke was sent to another dimension, and this is sure to piss off some people, okay? This is gonna be sure to piss some people off. Basically, Sasuke got sent to another dimension, and like Gaara stated, once Sasuke basically recovers his chakra, he's gonna end up finding his own way back to the dimension that they're currently in, so Sasuke is gonna be sidetracked for a little bit. So this is obviously the story building team, or excuse me, the story writing team, kind of building towards what's probably going to be a Sasuke versus Urashiki showdown. Now, more than likely, because Boruto is involved, Boruto is going to have some type of role to play in that. But what I like about it is the fact that they remove Sasuke from the situation, and in an indirect way, it does create tension. Now, I totally understand people being very pissed off about the bait and switch, but I will say this: given the amount of information dump that we got in this episode, I can kind of see why they removed Sasuke, because we got the opportunity to see more of how a threat Urashiki is. So in this episode, you know, one of the things you end up seeing is that Urashiki, like all the other Otsutsuki, is insanely powerful. Like, that was one thing I noticed last week. A lot of people are downplaying the fact that Urashiki wasn't powerful. People are like, oh my god, you know, he's fodder, he's trash. And while he wasn't in that main showdown in episode 65, you have to keep in mind that this is a character that Masashi Kishimoto designed. And if you go back to the Naruto manga, and I'll do a video on this later, but if you go back to the Naruto manga, if you look very closely in the background when Naruto and Sasuke are fighting Kaguya, you actually see the outline of a character that has Urashiki's design. So I mean, this is a character that Masashi Kishimoto has been thinking about for a very long time. So when people said he was fodder, it was something I always disagreed with. Now, I do have my own thoughts and theories that he's basically a scout sent out to look at all the other dimensions and kind of scout them to see if they have chakra, to monitor everything, and then to eventually send somebody to harvest, like what you saw with Momoshiki and Kinshiki. But what I like about this episode is that we finally get to see just a little bit of Urashiki flexing. We know that this dude had been fighting Sasuke, we know he'd been fighting Gaara, but you know, when you see Gaara take advantage of the fact that Urashiki turned his eyes because Boruto was charging him like an idiot, Gaara's able to save Boruto. And what I like is that the one tail Shukaku just shows up out of nowhere. He comes out of hiding, and we learn for certain that that's exactly why Urashiki is in the Sand Village area, basically in the Wind Country, because he's harvesting chakra. He's planning to take the chakra of the one tail. So for those of you who kind of need something compared to, kind of think back to what the Akatsuki were doing, only in this case, because he's in Otsutsuki, when he takes that chakra, it's gonna be sealed away a whole lot faster. So what I like is the one tails looks at the situation, sees how badly beaten up Gaara is, and without any type of hesitation just fires off this huge chakra blast, to which Urashiki point blank range isn't even studying. He ain't worried about it. And I gotta say, for as many still shots and frames that the Boruto anime does slip into its episodes, and it does, and you can tell that this is a weekly series and that there are times where the anime team does kind of lay off a little bit. I like how we did get some awesome animation here. Like, in particular, I like the way that Boruto's hair was moving, the way his face was grimacing, the way that the different shadows and everything were being used in that scene right there. That was really good. That was some really pristine animation. I did like that. I know some people were worried about either this episode or next episode having an animator come on who's going to be doing the direction for the episode, who doesn't have the best track record with past Boruto episodes. I'm not sure if it was this one, but I got to give props for this scene here. And what I also like is the fact that by having the one tail show up in his state as the way he is, we finally get confirmation of something I've been telling you guys, if you've been with me from the Kryptonian Saiyan days, something I've been telling you way back since 2016, which is the fact that the tailed beasts, they're actually out there. Like, one question I got a lot on my last channel, and one question I still get on this channel is, well, what's going on with the tailed beasts? Are they still out there? Are they all sealed in inside of Naruto. And you know, sometimes I do wonder if maybe, you know, you have a situation where people just watch a few clips and watch like the main fights. You know, I wonder if Naruto's gone down the route that Dragon Ball went down, which is a lot of people started with Z, like a lot of people started with Naruto Shippuden, and they just watched the key fights and then they jumped into the new series. A lot that happened a lot in the Dragon Ball fandom. A lot of people watched just the key fights and then started Dragon Ball Super, and I feel like that's happened with Boruto to an extent, because in the Naruto series, okay, or in particular in the Naruto manga, they make it implicitly clear that all the other Biju were going to go out and they were going to live, do their own thing, but they're going to use Naruto as a meeting port. Naruto still has chakra from all the other Biju. Each of the Biju have a sliver of chakra inside of Naruto. Naruto can tap into it as he sees fit, but most importantly, they use that for communication purposes. So what I like about this is that we see the One Tails in his actual body, in his domain, and what I also like about this moment here is that in a very subtle way, they began building up the eventual reintroduction of the Biju, because if he's looking for the One Tails, eventually he's going to be going after all the other Biju. Now, what I also like about this episode is the fact that they're building on something that was introduced in both the Boruto fan cluster. Every now and then you would have a small section at the end of the magazine where it dealt with the Boruto manga, and you would get little snippets and excerpts and blurbs and just the characters' thoughts and little behind the scenes information in terms of how the characters interact with each other. And what you got in that and what you got in the Boruto manga is that they were building a rivalry with Boruto and Shinki. Like the anime kind of hinted towards it when Shinki was, you know, looking down at him when Boruto was giving his apology, but in the manga, you know, you see this scene where you see them clearly setting up Shinki as a rival, because you see Gaara on that train with Yodo and Arya and Shinki, and you know, Shinki is getting pissed off at the fact that he wasn't allowed to go with Gaara and the other Kage to save Hokage Naruto, and yet Boruto was able to go. And if I'm not mistaken, Gaara made some type of line about a rival, and so I like the fact that this is finally being built on. This is finally being built on. Though if I did have to give a knock, if I had to give a knock, okay, so if I had to zonk this episode, I would say that after Gaara sealed away Urashiki, we spent way too much time kind of watching the Boruto and Shinki interactions where they're just kind of squabbling. And the reason why I say that I felt like we spent way too much time, if you look at the next episode preview, we're clearly gonna get Kankuro versus Urashiki's puppets, or Toneri's puppets that Urashiki's using. But the other thing is we're gonna see Boruto, we're gonna see Shinki, they're gonna be escorting the One Tails to Konoha, into the Land of Fire, and you can bet that they're gonna have their squabbles going back and forth. And I'm okay with it in that episode, but I felt like they overdid it a little bit. You know, sometimes less is more. I felt like they could have cut back on some of the moments where Shinki was getting under Boruto's skin. I feel like they should have went about it in a more subtle way. You could have kept the line as far as with, "You idiot, Biju don't have to go pee," which I thought was pretty funny, because I ain't gonna lie to you, right? I ain't gonna lie to you. When Shukaku said that to Boruto, I said, damn, Biju gotta piss? Wow. And then my next thought was, well, all this time that Kurama was in Naruto, what happened if Kurama had diarrhea? Like, where did that go? Like, how did that happen? Like, I was thinking the strangest things. I was thinking the strangest things at that point. I'm like, man, do they have a toilet inside the Jinchuriki? What the hell is going on? And sure enough, Shukaku is just playing jokes on him. And I like that. I do like that. I do like that, because I mean, Shukaku has always been one of my favorite Bijus. So I did like kind of seeing that element of it. But what I will say is the fact that I get why they had Kankuro supervising for the short period in time, because they're just hammering home over and over to Shinki that there's other things about being a ninja than just being cold, calculating, and reasonable. You know, Boruto possesses stuff that you don't have. So obviously this is gonna be that moment where Boruto starts to help Shinki see things from a different light, much in the same way that Naruto was able to help Gaara see things in a different light when they clashed fists and when Naruto used to talk no jutsu on him. So I could definitely see where as they start approaching Konoha, and maybe when things take a turn for the worse, all of a sudden Shinki gains a new level of respect for Boruto, because I did like what you see there. Even though Shinki mopped the floor with Boruto and Sarada in the tuning exams, Shinki acknowledges Boruto when he's talking to Kankuro privately, and he says, yeah, sure, you can't really downplay Boruto's fighting skills. He's very skilled, but a three-man team for this mission should have been Arya, myself, and Yodo. We would have had the highest chance for success. So I did like that element right there. And what I also like is the fact that when Gaara gives that mission, okay, when he gives that mission, Boruto, for arguably, and this is just my opinion, you guys will probably disagree with me, but arguably for the first time, Boruto is given a serious mission, because this isn't just a normal escort mission. This isn't a simple escort mission. This is escorting a Biju. So essentially, Gaara entrusted the Hidden Sand Village, the Wind Country's biggest military asset, because the One Tails was still inside of the Wind Country, and because of the relationship he has with Gaara, if anything happened for whatever reason, if the Shinobi Alliance treaty broke down, which there's been foreshadowing in the different novels, there's been foreshadowing in the Boruto anime early on and just sprinkled throughout the episodes, like when you go back to the Mitsuki arc, they drop little lines to say that at any moment the treaty between the nations can be disrupted if somebody does something, like how with Inoki created the Akadas and you had Kurasusuki kind of ripping him a new a-hole for that. I can't say the other word because of how YouTube works, but what I do like about that is how Gaara entrusts him with accompanying the One Tails to Konoha, and it'll just be a temporary thing. My other knock on this episode is they ran to a facility. They have a, what's the right way to put this? They have a desperate mission. They have a ticking clock. Urashiki is going to regain consciousness. The fact that his puppets are using his chakra and they're fighting Kankuro and they're holding their own against Kankuro's puppets is a sign that Urashiki is regaining his chakra, and he started regaining it, I want to say, moments after he was sealed. So the fact that Urashiki is coming should tell you that even though you have the One Tails locked away inside of that teapot, okay, even though that happens, you still need to move with the greatest urgency. Now, if you needed to contact Konoha and let them know what's going on, well, this is my thing. Naruto has chakra of all of the Biju, and this might be something that whoever wrote the episode overlooked, but in particular, when Hagoromo told the Biju to keep chakra inside of Naruto after Kage was sealed away, when he said that, he said it was so you could have that moment where they're able to convene and communicate with each other. And that's also why the other half of the Nine Tails, why Kurama was told to just seal yourself inside of Naruto, that way you can be a meeting point. So again, if they needed to let Konoha know what was going on, if they needed to let Konoha know they were coming, you have a direct hotline to Naruto. And that's gonna probably be my second biggest gripe with the episode. The biggest gripe being the overdoing of the back and forth with Boruto and Shinki, because the next episode is gonna focus heavily on that. More than likely, we are gonna see those interactions. So that is, again, that is my zonk. But overall, I will say I enjoyed the episode. But at the same time, there were some things to be left desired. You know, I did feel a little empty at the end of the episode where once again we're teased with a big showdown, and I feel like we're gonna get another bait and switch. I would love to see Kankuro whip out the Sasori puppet. I would love to see that happen in this fight. And I know that I believe the next episode is called Puppet Master Battle, but I mean, this would be something that, again, I really feel like having a good fight, because Boruto, while it does have adventure elements, for the most part, it's still following Naruto, which was a battle shonen. So at some point we are gonna need a serious fight. So I want to know from you guys, though. I really want to know from you guys, what were your thoughts about the Boruto and Shinki interactions? Do you agree with me that it was overdone, especially since the next episode is probably gonna highlight their rivalry as they begin to mend fences? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.